What's up everyone, my name is Nathan. I'm with Tree of Life Woodworking here in Phoenix, Arizona. I'm a one-man shop in a 3-car garage and I build custom furniture. So, kick it off with this side of the room. I have a workbench here that's in progress. It's going to be very big. We're talking 10 feet long, 32 inches wide, 5 inches deep, so much bigger than a normal Rubo. And I already have the bench crafted hardware that's going to go on it, such as the tail vise, the leg vise, and build a moxon vise as well. So just a matter of getting the time into it to complete this, but it's going to be very nice. Even just having these slabs is a very, very handy thing to have. It's a great work surface and is completely invaluable. So looking around me here, you'll notice woodpeckers. I'm not at all sponsored, but I love woodpeckers. I asked them on Instagram if they'd be kind enough to send me a banner to go on my wall here, and they did. So that's the only reason it's there. Around me here, I try to keep everything that's good for joinery. So you'll see I have a mallet, I have my Narex chisels, woodpecker squares, woodpecker's Paolini pocket rules. I have some Japanese pole saws and a little Japanese mallet as well, fret saw. Aside from that, I have all my clamps up here. I also have the Festool TS75 track saw over here. Very, very handy to have that nearby, use it a lot. And then some other things I keep nearby, Festool OF1400 router, new in my collection, but love it, very much worth it. Also the Festool ETS EC153, so that's their finish sander, great quality, can't complain, it really does the job well. To my side over here, I keep things like glue and a couple other odds and ends, but the main stuff is all right here. And I am still building out this French cleat wall because I've only been in this new shop for 2 months. So that about completes it for this side of the room. The last thing I'll add, if you don't have one of these, you really need to. It's a retractable extension cord, hangs up on the ceiling, you can just take it wherever you need. Saves so much time. You'd be amazed how much you actually reach for it. So get one of those. All right, so in this corner of the room, we have the water heater back in the back, but we also have my dust collection. So this is a Clearview CV1800 with the upgraded 16-inch impeller, and it pulls close to 2,000 CFMs. It's extremely strong. Like for a 3-car garage, honestly, it's overdoing it, but my goal when I buy stuff is to ensure that I never have to upgrade. That's really my goal, is I don't want to upgrade later on, have to spend more money. I'd rather just buy what is the best for, now as well as going into the future. So this thing could not be happier. I love that it's see-through too. Most dust collection, the cyclones are not see-through. So with this, I always know when it's reaching that full point, when it gets to the rim there, and that's when I need to empty it. Otherwise, you can get systems that use lights or sensors and stuff like that. But this is just an easy way I can look over and see right where it's at any time. So dust collection, huge plus. While we're over here as well, I want to show you the outfeed side of my table saw because I have a huge bank of cabinets here. Kind of went all out with walnut and everything because I do love walnut. But this is a huge bank of storage for me. So some important things I keep in here. I have like my Veritas hand planes. Can't beat those, right? I got a bunch of planes in there. I got random woodpecker stuff like setup blocks and their saw gauge. I have pocket roll stuff in there. Woodpecker sharpening system, that's the honing guide I use, and various stones and iron stones in there. The Festool dominoes over here. I got my Arbor Tech power carver. Dovetail jig. Honestly, just all different kinds of stuff that maybe it doesn't have another place in the shop, but preferably I try to keep everything right here that I'm going to need for the workbench that you just saw right over here. So it's just easy access to everything like that, and it looks beautiful. I have green flow all the way from left to right, top to bottom, so really tried to make this cabinet look nice. Alright, so you're going to see a couple doors around me. This one here is the one that leads into the house, through the laundry room, and it goes into the house. That one on that end goes to the side of my house. I keep the garbage cans out there and stuff like that. Behind me here, I have more French cleat storage for the stuff that I don't mainly need around my workbench, but stuff I reach for often enough that I want it visible. So, you know, wrenches, drills, all that kind of stuff. One thing I'll point out, this Woodpecker's Autoline drill guide. If you don't have one of these, it's amazing. Now, Woodpecker's is expensive. Not everyone can afford it. There's other brands that make the same concept, such as Miles Craft, or I think Rockler has one too. The idea is your drill hooks up to the shaft here, and then it's going to drill a perfectly straight down hole for you. So if you have trouble getting those straight holes, which, I mean, let's be honest, it's hard to be perfect, we're human, and you don't want to use your drill press all the time, this is so quick and easy. It even has like a depth stop, and it's really good. There's other accessories for it as well that I have, but that thing has completely replaced my drill press for at least my needs. Aside from that, lots of lumber storage over here. You can see I have a lot of maple on the bottom. That's going to be for the base of the Rubo that I need to finish. Up high, I keep all my nice walnut. In between, I got all sorts of random stuff. I got some poplar, oak, maple, a little bit of everything in there. So just general wood storage right there. I like horizontal wood storage. I know some people do vertical, but I only have up here, there's like a step. So it's only, I don't know, like 8.5, 9 feet. So it's really not a lot to play with when we're talking about vertical storage. A lot of the boards I buy are 10 to 12 feet long. So horizontal for me is the way to go. But that's this side of the wall. While we're over here on this wall, I just thought I'd show you my current project. This is actually a Maloof sculpted rocker. It's going to be beautiful when it's done. This one is actually for my wife because we're expecting our first baby in a couple months. I don't get to often build stuff for us, but you know, special occasion warranted the need for it. So I'm about 33 hours into this build so far. So you can see legs are attached. I got the seat generally sculpted, the legs generally sculpted. A lot more sculpting happens later. It's not finished by any means yet. So next I gotta work on the arms, then I'll do the headrest and then the spindles and then a ton of shaping. But it's coming along. I just wanted to give you a quick peek of this because this is a really fun project. Definitely difficult, but very much doable. I used the Wood Whisperer Guild plans for this one. They sell plans as well as templates. And you know, some people say like, oh, I don't want to use plans, blah, 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 it's too easy or it's not fun. Well, let me tell you, a project of this nature, you really need something as a starting point. Like a rocker and all the sculpting, even with the plans, it's not easy by any means. There's so much to do and there's so many different processes. And you can really shape it however you want, but at least you're getting a starting point of knowledge rather than just diving into it, not having a clue what angles the back slat should be or the leg should be or whatever, because a chair especially is something that if you don't do it right, you're gonna know right away because it's not gonna be comfortable. So you really need a starting point, unless you're somebody who just builds chair after chair after chair after chair, in which case you can do whatever you want, right? Because you have the experience, you know what's comfortable, what's not comfortable. In this case, definitely use something as a guide. All right, over in this corner of the room, we have my new pride and joy. This thing I just got a couple weeks ago. It's my dream router table, like my, you know, money is no object, just get everything I want router table. So I was able to do that. Top to bottom, almost everything is Woodpecker's. The lift is the Incra, the Jusum made Master Lift 2. And then the dust cabinet is the Incra Clean Sweep cabinet below. The reason I did that is very particular. Incra has these slots for their plates, and that allows more dust collection rather than the basic ones. If you look at something like this, how is any dust actually going to go through that? So by having it like this, it's sucking dust where it would have just been, you know, solid. So this adds so much dust collection that it's amazing. At the router table here, I'm getting over 1,000 CFM of dust collection for my dust collector that's on the other side of the room. That's pretty incredible. So we have the Woodpecker Super Fence, we got the Micro Adjust, we got the Woodpecker Spin Right, what is it, like 3 1/4 or 3.5 horse router motor. Woodpecker Stand, it's the big one, I think 43 by 27. Same with the top, 43 by 27. I am gonna build this all out into a really nice cabinet, you know, walnut, just like you saw with my outfeet.
But because I just got it, I just slapped some shelves in there just to have something until I have time. But this thing, absolutely amazing quality. It's phenomenal. I'll show you my other old router table in a minute. You'll just see immediately the difference. Another recent purchase of mine, really at the same time as the router table, is this mini split. I got a Mr. Cool 24,000 BTU mini split, and here in Phoenix, Arizona, it's hot, right? We get 110, 120 degree temperatures, and I've been woodworking 5.5 years in Arizona and never had AC. So getting this has been a game changer. When it's 110 outside, I can keep it 70 degrees in here, and this thing does the job very well. And that's without even adding more insulation. Like, I have insulated garage doors, but walls and ceiling, I haven't done anything extra yet. So that says a lot for the quality of this machine and its power. So really recommend having a mini split. For me, I actually routed the lines down and out through a vent that was down there, rather than normally you put a hole in the wall and feed the lines through that way. I just didn't want to put the hole in the wall. So I put it through the vent and then blocked the vent. I have a secondary vent up here, which I created like a blast gate for. So the left side slides open and then it closes. And the reason that's important is because I have a gas water heater. So with having gas, you need some ventilation in case something goes wrong. So when I'm not in here, I keep that blast gate open so it allows the air. But when I'm in here, I don't want to be throwing away my cold air, so I close that to try to keep as much of the cold air in as possible. But yeah, completely happy with this system. Let's briefly talk about shop lighting, because honestly, shop lighting is so important and a lot of people neglect it. So what I have, it's 14,000 lumens per light, and I have 10 of those lights. The brand is like Electica. It's on Amazon, you can find it. Some other ones I used in the past were like Barina, they're another popular one. The nice thing about these lights is they're just plug and play. You don't have to do any hard wiring if you don't want to. So they just plug into an outlet, you link them together. These ones are so powerful that you can only link 3 together. The Barina I had in the past were a lot weaker. I mean, still bright, but a lot weaker in comparison, and you can do 6 in a line. But these ones I just have on sets of 3. But oh my gosh, it's amazing. It's, you know, the camera is probably gonna be adjusting to the brightness automatically, but if you're in here and you see the actual brightness, it's really nice to work in. Like, everything is so illuminated. And so I recommend it. 10 of these lights, which are 8 feet long each, were $200 on Amazon. So a pretty minimal investment. So if you're in a 2-car garage, 3-car garage, I would definitely recommend buying the set, and you will never look back after having it. Like, it's, you know, even at midnight, it looks like it's a mountain in the daytime, you know, outside. So it's great. Working our way over, I have a Jet 16-inch planer. This has a 3 horsepower motor. This was a huge step up from the DeWalt that I had before. I had the DeWalt 735X, you know, a lot of people use that. And it is a great planer starting out, but it's severely underpowered and bogs down easily. You can trip the breaker easily. So this thing, having 3 horsepower, just absolutely gobbled up those Rubo slabs I showed you earlier with no problem at all. Didn't bog down. Like, it just ate it like a champ. Can also cut much deeper in a pass than the DeWalt could. So just all around, huge upgrade. Eventually, I do want a 20-inch planer. But you know, right now I have other focuses, such as a bandsaw is really my next big purchase. This thing, though, I kind of stumbled into it last year. I had the DeWalt, like I said, and all of a sudden on Facebook Marketplace, this popped up for $800. So I jumped on it, got this for $800. Was able to sell my DeWalt for $500, which coincidentally is the same price I had actually bought it for a couple of years prior. So I was only out the tax money for a couple of years of use on that thing. But yeah, so for like $300, right, I could not pass this up. It was such an upgrade. So highly recommend a, you know, stand-up planer if you're working off of a DeWalt. You know, you'll really see a big difference. All right, moving over. This is the 2-car garage. So I don't actually open this door ever. It doesn't have a motor. It does lift very easily with the spring system, but I just don't use it. The only time I ever open a door is the 1-car side when I bring in material. Otherwise, this stays closed. On this wall is all my sheet goods, and also I have these fast cap track mounts that go right on the garage door, and it's really cool. They just mount right on. You need to take your track, you just move these, boom, you got your track ready. When you're done, put it back on, lock it in place, and when it's locked, you can open your garage door and they stay on there. So really great place to store tracks. You don't have to use up your valuable wall space. Other than that, like I said, just all sheet goods right here. All right, this tool is one of my babies. This is the Grizzly 12-inch G0834 jointer. Has a big segmented head on it, 5 horsepower. It's an absolute beast. So, with this thing, a couple things I do. If I'm edge joining a board, a cool trick is putting these mag switch magnets out. Usually like one on each side. You know, roughly there, I'll usually have that out of the way. But the idea is this is gonna push your face against the fence while you bring the edge through. So I'll do that if I'm doing large boards, so that way pressure against the fence here and pressure against the fence here, so my boards don't have any inclination to wobble. Other than that, if it's a small board, it's really not necessary, but that's just a cool trick if you've never seen that before, because it really is effective. Other than that, I use these gripper blocks because on the ends, they have these that pop down so it'll drag your work, right? And also keeps your hands out of the way. The joiner terrifies me when it comes to injuries. I've seen so many of them on YouTube and online. So having this, and I'll just use two, this again grabs the back of the work to push it, gives you so much more control, keeps you safe. What, it's only 40, 50 bucks or so for two of them, so why risk your fingers on something so cheap? Up here I keep my table saw accessories. I have the Incra 5000 sled. I have the Mike Barrington double tapered sanding disc. Really is a cool tool for this. If you haven't seen it, go look up his video. Forest saw blades is all I use. So I have the 80 tooth for sheet goods, the 20 tooth for ripping, and currently in the saw I have a 48 tooth. That's a, they call it a #1 grind, and it leaves a flat cut for joinery. So those are the 3 blades that I cycle through. I also have a dado set, which comes out occasionally as well. All right, so on this part of the room, we have the heart of the shop for me, which is the table saw. So this is an old school Delta uni saw, has 3 horsepower, 52-inch fence capacity. Old, but extremely reliable, very strong, never struggles through any hardwoods that I cut. And then below, I made another walnut cabinet. So I actually made this one first, the outfeed followed later on. Again, I just love walnut, and the storage is amazing. I keep things in here like, push stick, the gripper again for safety and control, wrenches for saw blades in here, and various other things easily at hand. So the entire surface here, outfeed and the extensions and everything, comes out to about 80 inches by 73 inches. So it's a very, very large surface. That means when I'm cutting sheet goods or any longboard stuff like that, I have complete control the whole way through the cut. Also makes a great assembly table, and sometimes everything just piles up because it's a horizontal surface, you know how that is, but it's a really great surface to work on. So this is basically my table of stuff that's soon going away. So starting with this table, it was originally a drafting table, so it raises and lowers, and it can also flip on its side. And somebody put a couple plywood layers with dog holes in here, so you can use hold fast, which is pretty cool. For me, I just haven't gotten much use out of it because it always has stuff on it. It's where I mounted my old router table. This is a Bosch router table. Did good for a couple years, but compared to the woodpeckers, just night and day difference, not even close. I don't even want to keep it as a second. I thought about it, but the quality of this is pretty awful. Then I have a Wen 10-inch drill press that I'm also getting rid of because, as I mentioned, I use that Woodpecker's Autoline drill guide. What I do use over here a lot is this router, because I made this base and it has these slots, so if I'm doing a mortise in a piece, I'll move these up and hug it up to the piece, and now I can't move it side to side. It's only going to move the one direction. So that helps for a lot of control. Other than that, all of this is going away, and I'm actually going to be ordering a massive Laguna Italian bandsaw. It's one of their 18-inch models that they make in Italy. So pretty expensive, but it'll take a good footprint up in here, but it's going to be very handy to have.
All right, everyone, that's gonna wrap it up for today on the shop tour. I appreciate you sticking around and watching. This is my first video on YouTube. I do plan on doing more, especially content builds around my actual furniture builds. I feel like that's something kind of missing a lot on YouTube now, is everyone does these quick videos to get views, but you don't really see the detailed furniture builds anymore. So that's gonna be my focus, and I'll do shop tours a couple times a year because my shop is always evolving. Like I said, I've only been in here a couple months. So I ask that you please subscribe, ring the bell so you can see my videos when they come out, and leave me a comment. If there's other things that you want to see about my shop when I do shop tours, please leave it in the comments. Maybe you want more detail on planes or specific tools. I'm happy to do that. Just let me know what it is you're looking for. Thanks again. Have a good one.